system. But again, I think his intention was well met. I think he surpassed that by sticking to it well past what people thought he would, because a lot of people probably thought he would have backed out a long time ago and just been like, just give me a job. And he did not do that. And so I don't really think that I can talk about selling out in respect to his situation, because I really do feel like he surpassed anything that he probably expected this to go into.
So,
the Nike commercial?
So let me ask you this then, because, you know, I agree with a lot of what you said, but I'm just curious, like, you know, at what point do you expect Kaepernick to give his share his expectations and what he wanted and his intentions and all that sort of stuff?
Did you want to hear from the man? What you're saying?
Yeah. Because I agree with what you're saying, but it's like, he took the Nike bag, so it's like,
yes, okay.
That's the only thing I have about his intentions.
And that was a Kumbaya commercial,
right? No, you're definitely right. It definitely was. It dealt with a bunch of other issues and really just watered everything down. Just like, you know, all these Students of Color Coalition things like that happen because people want to they want the watered down version. Everybody loves those equality commercials because the simple fact that it was watered down, and it got attention off of the fact that black bodies and brown bodies are in the streets every single day, dead in cold blood. So yes, I definitely agree with that. However, I'm thinking about, there a long time ago, I was asked a similar question just about Black Lives Matter and basically, you know, what was going on there and why it was kind of like a headless body and why there were so many different people doing their own thing.
George
and
Soros.
My response to that was never look to any person for any type of relief of anything, because they're always going to be out in their best interest. That just is what it is. There's a few, and there are few and far between people that have actually lived their lives for other people and have died in those same rights. There's very few people.
Facts.
And Muhammad Ali wasn't one of them. He didn't die. I mean, he risked a lot, and yes, but truthfully, he died because of his sport. So that's a whole different situation. But he did a lot. Yes, he did. But he didn't die for the cause. And there are a lot, and there are few people that actually
He lived for the cause.
He
lost everything for the cause.
That's fair, but it's different to say you lived and died for the cause. There's a very different conversation.
Malcolm X died for the
people
cause.
That were
MLK died for the cause.
For doing what they did, it's
I feel
very
you.
different.
And Ali,
you want levels to it.
And Ali might have been if he wouldn't have, you know, stopped talking for like the last 30 years of his life.
Sam Cooke was
possibly, but that's speculation. We can't go there because that's speculation.
Sam Cooke was killed for the cause. Otis Redding, Teddy Pendergrass, they died for the cause. Go watch the documentaries too.
Malcolm X, a lot of Black Panther Party people. I mean, yes, there's definitely people that died for the Sandra Bland. I mean, if we really want to get into it, but
somebody else died in that jail, by the way, recently.
What?
Someone else was murdered in that jail, by the way.
Oh wow!
Same cell as her too.
So, damn. Okay, well, that's fucking deep and a whole different discussion. But those things are very different. And so, I guess to get back to your point about him taking it, I just never looked to one person. And when you have one person that is speaking out so blatantly and doing those things, historically, they have been assassinated and taken down. So we have to make sure that we're doing it in a very strategic way, just like Black Lives Matter. A lot of people did not agree with it because there were different people doing their own thing and everything. However,
and I haven't heard from
I guarantee that if somebody would have been the head and somebody would have been, you know, the total spokesperson, they would have been taken down. It's just historical fact. And we have to be a lot more strategic about how we, you know, lead to, you know, our liberation of our own selves. I mean, it starts in the mind, but you can't look to anybody. And so I don't even know if the conversation warrants being conversed at all, because it's like, he did what he did, and now what is on you? Like, I can't put a now what on Colin Kaepernick. I can't.
So then let me ask you this, you know, as someone,
I feel it.
You know, you brought up history books and stuff, and I know you work with youth. So let me ask you this, like, how do you share the legacy of Colin Kaepernick? Like, you know, what do you tell the young Black student that comes up to you with their Black History project being about Colin Kaepernick?
I'd probably steer them in a different way because I feel like there's even other people in the present day that would probably represent what's going on in this time much better.
But I mean, there are adults doing that, you know, like.
That's true.
Yeah,
okay, that's fair. Okay,
someone's going to dress for Kaepernick.
Like people, like he's going to be an icon, whether he wanted to or not, or we want him to or not.
Right. This is true. I always feel like also too, your legacy precedes you. I mean, I don't know if he will be remembered in the same exact way, because I feel like people will say, like, he started a movement with the knee, and it's like,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, you being on the ground, like, how do you address that? How do you deal with that?
Okay, this is exactly what I would say. I would say, do your research and find, and try to find out as much as you can, obviously, about the situation when it first happened. But also, too, athletes historically have been silenced. Athletes historically have been put into this box, and they still are, and told that basically this is just an extension of slave ownership, and this is what it is. So for him to even step outside of that box or take a knee outside of that box, just in general, puts him above many, many people that have said that they've done things for the cause. Because clearly bringing that to attention on a national scale does not happen every day, because we have a lot of people that say that they're for the cause and they say that they're for the people, and yet they are not doing anything to hurt their bag. And that's a lot of, and just like you guys had mentioned about the Super Bowl, nobody got on Cardi B for still performing. Nobody got on Chloe Akali for still performing, because guess what? It still didn't hurt their bag. They still took what they needed to take, even though it didn't get, coverage like Travis Scott and all those things. So for the simple fact that he allowed it to affect his bag in a huge way, meaning that it could have affected his family, it affected his safety, everything around him, his whole world could have literally come crashing down, rather than the status that it took because of social media and other things like that put it out there. He literally took a step in the right direction that really did start a movement. Whether or not those were his intentions, and I would be very clear about that, I think that even still, to even, comprehend the fact that this could literally end my career and everything that I've worked for up until this point, shows you that, yes, the man is worthy to be studied and to have a legacy, because he didn't have to. I mean, clear as day, he didn't have to. He could have donated to charities and people still would have pumped him up. But he decided, no, I'm going to do something a little bit more and push it a little bit more, because guess what? It's happening at a ridiculous level and people need to take note. So he still deserves a legacy that says that, yes, he was a part of something greater than him. However, were those his intentions? I mean, I don't think so necessarily, but I still think it led to something great. So.
All right, Ryan. Well, thanks for sharing a bunch of stuff with us. It was really good. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for your perspective.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. I mean, keep doing your thing. I appreciate the conversation, and just in the future, just know that these conversations have so many areas that you could go into and really dive into. It's hard to really say what you would say about one person, because clearly this has more to do with the bigger picture. But I do appreciate the conversation on it, touching tangent. So keep doing your thing.
All right, have a good night. Thank you.
Night.
Stay warm.
Right. No problem. You too. Bye.
Yeah, man, that was a really good conversation. I felt like it really kind of helped me wrap my head around how I feel, and I guess my real issue isn't necessarily with Colin Kaepernick, more so than it is
the fight,
the reaction to it all, both from the beginning and now in the resolution.
And you're like, what's the next step in the fight? Well,
because
it starts with me and you and us and we.
Well, I mean, I think she just hit it, head on the hammer. Like, it's about his intentions. Like, we don't know what his intentions were when he started, and we don't really know what they are now. So, I mean, I can't really say it is a success or a failure without knowing what the overall
master plan is,
goal and objective was and still is. So, yeah, I mean, like she said, I mean, it came down to getting his career back, and that's essentially what he got. So,
yeah,
all the other stuff is just kind of like from other people. I mean, really. But that's also kind of like why I am mad at Kaepernick, because he is letting so many other things speak for him, like Nike and Eric Reed and all these other things, and he's not really taking control of his own narrative and sharing it straight from the horse's mouth. Like,
but I mean, when he was talking while he was playing, sorry, I sneezed really hard just now. When I think about when he was playing before, the media immediately spun in and made him a bad guy. So I get why he would want to talk to the media, because a lot of people in the media.
That's not a good. Nah, I'm not giving him that cop out. His girl's in the media.
Yeah,
that's not a good. That's not a good.
I'm not speaking as that's what I believe. I'm just saying.
And he got a lot of good
a-
coverage from the undefeated, and like
Yeah.
he got plenty of.
He
good.
just didn't talk.
He got plenty of good. Yeah,
He just talk. But I'm just saying.
I mean, and not to draw parallels to like Muhammad Ali, but like
Muhammad Ali never shied away.
dude literally couldn't like work.
Yeah,
like anywhere. Like
He
he
was the
literally
best
had
at
to go
his
to Africa, like
he was
to
the
fight.
best. Yeah, he was the best in his profession, and it was still taken.
And
away
he
from
couldn't
him.
even get a passport.
Yeah,
to go fight in Africa, to go fight in other countries. They wouldn't even give him a passport because of his ties to the black Muslims.
yeah, and also like they knocked him for the whole not wanting to go fight in a war that wasn't ours in the Vietnam War. And well, if you go talk to a bunch of black veterans about the Vietnam War, you'll find out some shit. They like what they would play over the loudspeakers, like black man, this isn't your fight. Like a lot of stuff happened. So I will say, in the history of NFL, I would say Kaepernick isn't a Muhammad Ali. I'd say he's more closer to a Kurt Flood. But I forgot to ask Ryan, should he ever
Meaning that now we're going to have activism in sports moving forward because of him?
No. That like
he's the catalyst?
He's the catalyst for negotiations and nonprofit, how things are going to change. But I don't think he's... I think he's... Because, I mean, I don't know. He's not Muhammad Ali. He's not Kurt Flood. He's somewhere along the line. But, again, as she said, and she made a great point, and this is a really great point, and it's something I have to deal with. If more people stood with me, then we wouldn't be talking about what else do I need to do. But more people didn't stand with him. If everybody was hard body about it and said, you know, we're going to go start our own league because all you need to play football
is other people.
Is a field and people.
Yeah.
But like, and it goes back to the whole coalition idea, and we're all in this together. Just because there's NFL players in the union don't mean the players are united, because they're not. Do you want to talk about how bad the NFL Players Union is? It's pretty bad.
But yeah, man. So let me ask you the final note, and then we can just kind of close out the show since we pretty much are over time already. How are you going to remember and look back at this whole Kaepernick situation 5-10 years from now? What is it going to mean to you?
I mean...
Specifically you.
Specifically me? I think about my situation and other situations, and it just comes back to the same premise. He did what was best for him in the situation. That's all you can really do. To any other causes that are bigger than him, I have to ask, what did the people next to him do and help him fight? Because we love to put it on one person, and whether it's the black community or just in general, we love to make one person our hero. And we love to make that one person the person who shoots through a glass ceiling for us and break those glass ceilings. But what we like to forget is, and I've said this before, we love to forget that the person who busts through that glass ceiling for you usually is left to bleed out and die on the floor somewhere. And everybody else just shoots through the ceiling. Not many people really check on that person and make sure they're okay. Like, we love a hero, but we love to see someone fall. But do we ever really go back to pick them up? That's rare. And he probably had to look about his future and see, I'm never going to make money in the NFL ever again. I got to get him for all it's worth. And I can't blame a man for coming in with all the ammo he needed to go into court and force the NFL to pretty much take a knee, as other people have said. I can't get mad at that.
Get your corny newspaper headline ass out of here.
I'm not the one who said it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ray. Ray said that. First off, don't disrespect Ray like that. But now, Ryan said, yes, Muhammad Ali was prolific in his approach, and I don't think Cap was ever on that same wavelength.
Well, I think more even so than that. I mean, Ali adapted. Ali changed at 18 years old. Like, at that point he realized he wasn't living for himself. He literally